Hi guys, and welcome back to the Merry Yorkshireman, and welcome back to the Crawl Room, although it's not the Crawl Room, is it, because the season has ended. Unfortunately so, but I will be back bigger and better in 2023, and I guess you all can't tell, I'm feeling much better as well, so I got better thanks to your love in the comments section, and some Lemsips, and some paracetamol, and all that good stuff. So, if you can remember, all the way back to March, before the season started, I put up my championship predictions where I felt the teams would finish in the Constructors' Championship at the end of this season. I can't remember if I did it during testing or even before testing had begun, or I can't quite remember, but I think they must have done some laps for me to try and base this on, so to speak. But either way, we're going to see how right or wrong I was. I've genuinely not seen these since March when I put the video up, so I can't really remember what I've put where, but I've got a funny feeling I've got a few teams in the right place, so we're going to look and see. Shall I start at the bottom or shall I start at the top? I'm going to start at the top because it might make me confident, because I'm convinced I put Red Bull for Constructors Champion, so I might win. So let me get the old phone out and let me put my results up. So, in first place, I did in fact predict Red Bull. Well, I got that. 10 out of 10 for me. What a superstar. They absolutely walked away with the championship, didn't they? So yeah, very happy with that. I predicted that right. God, I'm an absolute genius, aren't I? In second place, I put Ferrari. And I did put Ferrari, and I'm not lying, I actually did put Ferrari. So that is another solid 10 out of 10, although at one stage it wasn't looking like they were going to finish second, was it? Because Mercedes were chomping at the bit, but yeah, they just did enough when Mercedes weren't that good in the first phase of the season to score enough points to really stop the momentum from Mercedes really taking hold. That Abu Dhabi race as well, the last race of the year, Ferrari had the upper hand, Mercedes were very much the third fastest team. So yeah, it got close at times, but in the end Ferrari did finish second, so I'm more than happy with that. Also as well, just like to add, I'll stick a video link up there to the predictions that I did do back in March, whichever way it is. So yeah, you can look back and make sure that I'm definitely not lying, because I'm not. I've got no need to lie. These are probably going to go dreadfully wrong very soon. So let's have a look and see who I thought was third. And in no surprises, I thought third would be Mercedes. They were third. I don't know quite why I thought they were third. I think it was the whole no pod thing, wasn't it, when they were going through the no side pods. And I just thought, bit of a tricky concept, and they were suffering a lot from porpoising as well. But so were Ferrari at the start, weren't they? So not really sure why. Maybe watch the video and see why. I can't be bothered to look back at my old stuff because I think it's mostly crap. But yeah, I did think that Mercedes would finish third, and they did finish third in the Constructors. Again, though, like I mentioned with Ferrari, did get close though, didn't it? In fourth place, I put McLaren. Oh, just missed out there, didn't I? Let's be fair though, if we'd have had two Lando Norrises in that car, then we would have been fourth in the Constructors easily, based on Alpine's really bad reliability this season. Yeah, two Lando Norrises in that car as opposed to a Ricciardo would have easily seen McLaren fourth best. Let's not forget, that was the only team outside of the top three that netted a podium this season, and that was with Lando at Imola. So, yeah, I think I was a bit hard done by there, wasn't I? Because I was hoping that maybe Ricciardo would be better than he were and we'd see more of Monza 2021, and instead we just saw absolute shite from him. I mean, that prediction was looking really wrong though at the start of the year, wasn't it? Because it was no points in Bahrain, they were 14th and 16th, struggling with braking issues. So a lot of big issues there to start the season off with, but Imola, podium, and came good from there. So yeah, just needed two Landos in that car really to net them fourth in the championship, because Ricciardo really scored next to no points in comparison. What was he, like 90 points less than Norris? Well, you think he only had to score another 30 and they'd have been ahead of Alpine. So yeah, hard done by on that one, but McLaren fourth, a respectable position for me to put them. I just weren't quite right. Fifth place, oh, we've got this drastically wrong. Oh dear, Alpha Tauri in fifth I put. Oh God. But to be fair though, I was very much on the Gasly momentum train. He's going to go into the season better. They finished well in the season before. I was hoping Tsunoda would do a lot better than he did do. I mean, he did shite, didn't he, this season? Kept crashing, so yeah. Yeah, a bit of a stretch, that one, but I do feel they lost a lot of points this year based on silly errors with each driver. Team strategies as well wasn't brilliant, was it? There was a lot of team errors, there was a lot of mechanical problems, there was a lot of driver errors as well. Gasly lost his mojo. He wanted out of that Red Bull partnership, didn't he, from like halfway through the season? You could just tell. And I think it really knocked the wind out of his sails when Alpine initially announced Piastri, and then all that debacle happened, and obviously Alonso's move, and he thought that, oh, I'm in here, and then he wasn't, and then he was again. So, yeah, I think it really took the wind out of Gasly's sails, and he was just fully focused on going into Alpine next year and just sacking off the rest of 2022, to be honest. So, yeah, a massive stretch, but then when I think about it, they lost a lot of points in silly errors, driver mistakes. So I think the car, in theory, should have maybe been the 6th best in the Constructors, maybe 7th. So 5th was always a stretch where I've put them, but in reality, yeah, they could have been, had they just had, well, just a bit of everything this season, because they had nothing at all, did they? So, yeah, maybe always 5th was going to be a stretch, but I was hopeful for big things from them this year. If I were expecting Red Bull to win it, I'd have thought Alpha Tauri would have stepped up the game as the B team to Red Bull and done their bit as well. But in the end, they finished 9th in the Constructors, didn't they? So, terrible. I was well off with that one. In 6th place, I put Aston Martin. Now, in theory, it was joint 6th, wasn't it? Obviously, they got the prize money for 7th, but they came so close to securing 6th. Now, again, at the start of the season, I was thinking, oh God, 6th place, I'm well off with this prediction, because they weren't scoring any points, they were completely lacklustre. Then we had Australia, where both drivers just wanted to keep shunting. They found the walls more than they found the points for the first few races. Finally broke the duct at Baku, was it? Got a few points there on the board. And then this late charge from like mid-season onwards, they did really well, closing that gap up to Alfa Romeo. And then finally, for Alfa Romeo's sake, Bottas found his mojo and scored a couple of crucial points at Brazil, and that netted him and kept him in that secure 6th place in the Constructors for them. So Aston Martin finishing 7th, even though tied on points. And again, strategy with Vettel especially. Stroll was always put on brilliant strategies, and all he could do was finish 10th. And then Sebastian Vettel doing all he could at Abu Dhabi especially, in a fantastic qualifying, a fantastic race, a crap strategy. All he had to do was finish ahead of Ricciardo, and that would have been 6th place. So I feel a bit hard done by that one. Yes, they finished 7th, but tied on points. I think in the end, I think you'll allow me that one. I'm going to give myself 10 points for that. I didn't think that at the start of the season, though. Definitely not. In 7th place, I have Alpine. Now, I was expecting the reliability to still be an issue, which it was. But when they were running and when they were finishing well. I wasn't expecting Ocon to do as well as he had done in certain races. Alonso had a really difficult start to the season, but once he got over the bad luck and reliability issues, he came good and was always scoring points. So, yeah, overall, it ended up being a really good trio and a really good duo. You know, a good partnership between Alonso and Ocon scoring points, a good partnership with Alpine providing good strategies as well, crucially. All boiled over towards the end of the season, though, didn't it? Brazil's sprint race in particular, where they made contact twice with each other, and they just really wanted to see the back of each other as teammates, didn't they? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Gasly gets on there with Ocon alongside. Of course, Ocon is the Alpine protege. He's signed multi-year deal, much like Leclerc has at Ferrari, Norris has at McLaren. They all seem to have their young drivers now, don't they? But Ocon's the young gun and very much Alpine's full focus. So be interested to see how Gasly and Ocon get on, because they've never done well in the past before. They've hardly been bosom chums. There's been some rivalries in previous championships and karting. So yeah, overall I was well wrong with that estimate of 7th. In the end, finished 4th. But yeah, overall I think, you know, they just completely out-delivered what I was expecting of them. Yeah, I honestly got that one massively wrong, and that's the end of that one. In 8th place, I have Alfa Romeo. Now, they were having a strong start and looked to be strong in testing, but I was expecting them to drop off. And they did drop off, didn't they? They had a massive drop-off in form. After the initial 46 points that Bottas scored in the first 6-7 races, was it? And then they've had nothing for so long, and then they finally picked up another crucial 3 at the end of the season. Zhou only scoring 6 points in the end. I think Zhou has been incredibly hard done by people with his estimations. Like, he was still adapting to Formula 1 when the car was at its best, and rarely picked up the points that the car deserved because it was new to the sport. I mean, let's not forget Saudi Arabia, though, where he could have had points, and we had a drive-through. Then we didn't serve the drive-through correctly, or it was a stop-go or something and wasn't served correctly by the team. Then he had a drive-through, then something else, and he ended up finishing 11th that race. That would have been easy points there for Zhou in a race where points were possible, but the team screwed up after a driver error. You know, it was a multitude of failings. I mean, the amount of bad luck that both drivers have had with reliability as well. I mean, Zhou seems to have had it more, and Zhou had it more when the car was good. So yeah, overall for me, I think Zhou has done a really good, solid rookie season. Found his form and closed the gap to Bottas in the second half of the season, but by that point the development of the other teams had overtaken Alfa Romeo and points were always rarely possible from then on. So yeah, Zhou, I'm hopeful he has a strong season next season. But yeah, Alfa Romeo, 8th overall. They finished 6th in the standings. In theory, could have easily been 7th, so I don't think I was too far away there in my initial assessment of they were going to do really well and then drop off. I've got that spot on. They just did so much so well in the first half of the season that they couldn't be caught in the second half. So yeah, there we go. In 9th place, I have Haas, and again, they were close to losing out on that, weren't they? That was some more crucial points for Kevin Magnussen at the Brazil sprint race that kept them ahead of AlphaTauri there. So, you know, again, it all came down to the final couple of races and they could have slipped to 9th. And this is what I said in that as well. I remember that I said Haas are looking good, Haas are looking strong, but I'm thinking that their initial pace will drop off. And again, it drops off dramatically because they can't keep up with the development rates of the big teams. I know there's budget caps, but, you know, even if you can't, you know, there's budget caps, but if you can't spend the money in the right places because you've not got the facilities, then the big teams will always pull away. So, yeah, shame for Haas. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next year. Again, I think this is very much like a Zhou scenario where Mick didn't deliver the points when the car was capable of doing so. Then when he found his form, it was too little too late. The car was very much a 10th place finisher at best at the end of the season. So, yeah, overall, I think K-Mag's done a cracking job. Still made mistakes though, didn't he? Called into the pits 3 times with a flappy wing end plate and just ruined his race for no reason at all, really. Just black and orange flags for the sake of it. And then Mick, too much of a shunter in the first half of the season. Second half came good. The car wasn't up to it then. So yeah, 9th place. I don't think I'm too far away with that, really. They could have easily finished 9th. And then in 10th place, Williams. So I've got 4 right. 1, 2, 3 and 10. I think we all expected Williams to finish last. Were we expecting him to score points though? Absolutely not. I think Albon's done a cracking job this year with the car he's been given. I mean, there's been so many drives by Alex where we've finished 11th, 12th. And because it's not points, it goes unnoticed, but I think that is punching massively above its weight. And has done a stunning job, done an absolutely cracking job as Alex this year. There was the great Australia. What a brilliant strategy that was. Just hard tyres all the way, and then soft tyres on the last lap, and securing a 10th place finish. Miami was a cracking effort as well. Yeah, he's done really well. His only off weekend really was Singapore, wasn't it, where he kept stuffing it into the wall. But the Williams car, for one, looked like a difficult car anyway, that race. And secondly, he'd only just come back from an appendicitis and going into respiratory failure. So I can allow him one bad weekend, and that's the only one I can think that was bad. Such as Japan, I think obviously Latifi finished in the points there. Alex should have done, but he was out on lap 1 with a mechanical issue. So there was definitely more points possible throughout the season, but not enough to overhaul and ever finish anywhere higher than 10th. Team will be looking to build on that now. Albon and Logan Sargent for next year. So hopefully a strong driver lineup there. Logan can learn the ropes from Alex. Alex can take something from Logan, and they can work together to push the team forward. But Alex looks rejuvenated, doesn't he? Latifi was absolutely dog shit this season, massively out of his depths. 2 lucky points at Japan, with a great strategy by the team, I'd like to add. And yeah, he had to keep it on the road, so fair play to that. But when Nick De Vries comes in at Monaco, a stunning qualifying effort. What was he? It was in Aston Martin for FP1 that race, wasn't it? Then qualifying with Williams, stunning effort in qualifying, and then in the race running round in 10th. And then Ricciardo broke down, finished 9th. So, you know, Nick De Vries really showed what he was capable of. in that Williams seat, and it'd be interesting to see how he gets on at Alfa Tauri next year. I think that's some good fire in his belly there, and finally getting the grid spot that he's deserved for so many years in Formula 1 as well for Nick. That Williams seat and that Williams drive changed it all. So as much as it was misfortune and bad luck for Alex, and I'd never wish that on anyone, it's good that Nick De Vries has had his opportunity in Formula 1, delivered everything and above what was expected. And yeah, 10th place finish in the end for the season for Williams, but I don't think it was a disappointing season overall. I think they've learned some things, they've gained, they've made progress, and again, hopefully with a strong pairing, they can build on that for next year. So there you have it, guys. I got 4 out of 10 right. I got a couple just 1 or 2 places off. The only 2 real wrong ones was Alfa Tauri finishing 5th and Alpine down in 7th. They were obviously 9th and 4th. So I got those in theory the wrong way round, even though they'd have still been wrong. It'd have been a lot closer to being right. Yeah, let me know your thoughts and feedback down below. If you left any feedback or what you thought happened in the championship in the first video, let me know how right you were with your predictions, and yeah, see what did you think to my predictions in the end. I don't think I was too far away. Like I said, 2 big teams that I got really wrong, and the others, my assessment of them was right, but they just didn't tumble as much as I was expecting, especially with Alfa Romeo and Haas. I was expecting a strong start from them always and then falling away, but they just didn't fall as much as I was expecting. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you all again for another video soon. I think this is probably going to be the last F1 video I do now. So if you're just in here for the F1 content, I will not be offended at all if I come and see you again in the new year in the comments section. There'll be loads of other stuff going up, though. There's going to be all random stuff, really, to be honest with you. Even I don't know myself yet. But just be in mind now that this is the last F1 video of the season from me, unless anything drastic happens. And yeah, if I don't see any more, for those guys that are just solely here for the F1 stuff, then have a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll see you all for the Crawl Room at the start of the season. And if you are going to watch me again with all my other random videos that I put up on here, then I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and as always, much love.